Hey, so this is a quick tutorial in order to show you how to use your own backend, to send push notifications using Flow and Firebase. First things first, make sure that you have watched the push notification tutorial from Flow provided from Flow. And after watching this, make sure that everything is working correctly and you successfully are receiving push notifications. After you set up this and trigger manual push notifications, make sure that your plan in Firebase is bronze and you pay as you go, because if it's not like that, if it's not set up like that, you'll not be able to send push notification, but it should be if you follow the instructions, and you will successfully pushing manually push notifications. So the second most important part is when you go to Firebase and when you have users, you have to have authentication enabled in order to use push notifications. So this is the thing that you need enabled in order to use push notifications. And when a user is using, if you're using the run mode over here, it will not work. In order to work, you have to test it, or a user have to go in your application from a phone. It doesn't matter it's Android or iOS, it doesn't matter, and just register a new user from your sign in form. So from here, for example, just write your email and password, click register, and a new user should be created in the Firestore database, Cloud Firestore users, and then this is the ID of the document, and this is the dump email ID and when it was created. And here in the collections, you should see FCM tokens. When you click on FCM tokens, you should see a document with a randomly generated ID, and this is actually the device. This fake FCM tokens, so it should not work. But this is actually what you should see, and this is actually those IDs are every device that this user had used. So for example, if this user have login with an Android device, it will have one document, but if he or she have several phones or tablets or whatever, you actually see all the devices here in this FC tokens, and you see the device type, which will be only Android or iOS. Those are the only two types that you will see, and you see a FC token. And when this is set up, and when you register from your phone, and when you go to the Firebase and you see that you can actually see this in the Firestore database, this is the first step. It's very important. And then the second step, it's when you go to the code, and this is PHP because I'm using PHP, but of course you can use any language that you prefer. So it's relatively simple. In general notice, you can use you have to use a post request, and this is the URL that you have to send the post request to, and this is actually the whole URL you have to send the post request to. And you can see actually here the type is post, and the headers, you have to say that it's application JSON. You have, this is the host, this is the path, it should be post, as I said. Authentication, it should be key equal to your key, and your key is actually, you can get your keys from when you go to project settings and then go to cloud messaging, and this is the key. So don't use this key, of course. I'll delete it when I record this. So, but this is the key. You can copy this key and just paste it over here, and of course delete everything like this, delete everything and then paste it. And in PHP, this is where you should put your key. And when you do this, you can actually, the next step is actually to take the device ID, and the device ID, you can take it from your database user FC tokens, the device that you want. In this case, I have only one device, and this is the ID that you need to take, and just put it here. And the PHP request, and if you're using PHP, the HTML request, and if you're using PHP, you can put it, you should put it, where is it? It's somewhere, yeah, it's data, it's here, and it should put it over here. Should be like this. And this is the notification, this is the title, a demo dump title, and the body, you have a body. So in HTTP request, this is where you should put it. But yeah, you can format this in your own language. I put it in HTTP so you can see what it's needed. And for PHP, I will briefly just, and it should work actually. And for PHP, I want to just briefly talk what you should do. In my case, I'm using a cron job, and I'm executing this cron job every 10 minutes because I have like an event that I have to check, and I have to send in a certain time of day. And in order to do this, I have to check like every 10 minutes if this event is true or not. But I have a simple if, and this if is actually telling me if the event is happening or not. If it's not happening, then just keep all the code over here. So the code from 39 to here to the last 132 will be skipped if it's not the time and the day that I want to execute the code. And so first thing first, you need to install Firebase for PHP with this code, and you can see more information if you Google this. You can see more information at this page. And then it's very important to know that you have to execute it with PHP 7.4 in order this to work, because of right now the PHP 8 is not supported. So if you execute it in PHP 8, it will not work. And just to go briefly about the code, just load the autoloader, then load those classes, those two classes. And then first, if you're not executing this from the terminal, then just get an error, output an error. This file is not run from the terminal, because I only want to run this file from a terminal, and not from the browser, for example. And yeah, this is the. So you're taking the factory, and this, in my case, I'm taking the factory, and then the URL, and then the Firestore, the database, the users collections. I'm going inside the users collection, and I say if the user exists, then get the user data, and then with this code over here, I'm getting the user ID, and the collection of the FC tokens. This is actually, I'm talking about this collection over here. And when I'm taking this, when I take this collection, I order it to created ID by descending order, because if a user have more than one device, I actually want to take only the last device that the user used to log in or register for my application. And then I take the token, and when I take the token, this is the tokens actually, and yeah, basically I take the last token that the user used, and then I'm sending the notification over here. So yeah, this is generally the code I'm using. I will put a link in the video description, and if you have any questions, yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching.